While efforts continue to increase the water supply in arid regions, we are also experiencing a problem of another sort in many areas. This is the problem of water pollution. Water is polluted by sewage, by wastes of industrial processes, and by pesticides. These materials contain organic and inorganic chemical compounds and a variety of harmful microorganisms. When these compounds decompose, they act as nutrients which over-enrich the water and promote the growth of small underwater plants called algae. Decaying algae rob the water of oxygen, destroying aquatic life and preventing the water from purifying itself. When ingested, other waterborne wastes may affect man because they are toxic. Some bacteria, when ingested, can cause disease. This is Lake Michigan, one of the 5 Great Lakes which together form the greatest connected area of fresh water on Earth. Though the states bordering the lakes would not seem likely victims of a water problem, nevertheless they are. For though the lake water is not being exhausted, it is being polluted. Steel mills and oil refineries are among the worst polluters of Lake Michigan. The pollution from these plants has affected the entire southern end of the lake. In many communities, insufficiently treated sewage and industrial pollution periodically put the beaches off limits to swimmers. In the waters of Green Bay, to the north, the pollutants are raw and partially treated wastes from paper mills and the cities along its shores. Bacteria feed on these wastes, robbing the water of oxygen. Moving east, Lake Erie is almost biologically dead. That is, desirable aquatic life can no longer survive here. Only algae and various scavengers find the environment hospitable. The story is depressingly similar in many other parts of the country. New York's Hudson and East Rivers are open sewers. The Cuyahoga River in Ohio is so loaded with the waste products of petroleum distillation that it is actually in danger of catching fire. Even the tidal areas adjacent to cities and towns are becoming polluted. Clams and oysters from these waters cannot be gathered, except in legally designated areas, because they have been found to harbor bacteria from the wastes in rivers flowing into the estuaries. So with many of our water resources becoming polluted, how are we going to provide ourselves with sufficient quantities of water that we can use? We can obtain pure water from polluted water by purification processes such as those used at Lake Tahoe, California. In the Lake Tahoe plant, the primary and secondary treatment given the incoming sewer water is similar to the kind provided in most sewage systems. Settling tanks permit sedimentation of the larger solid particles. In this demonstration, you can watch sedimentation in raw sewage water with the help of a time-lapse camera. The sewage water is then aerated to hasten decomposition of the waterborne excrement. Then the water passes into another settling tank, from which it emerges looking like the end product of most sewage treatment plants. In this plant, however, the water passes on to several further stages of treatment. Here, powdered lime is added as a coagulant to remove phosphates that algae need for growth. When lime is added to phosphate-rich water, the lime combines with the phosphates and they precipitate out as calcium phosphate. After another stage, which removes dissolved ammonia gas, another algae nutrient, the water passes through several layers of gravel and sand in these filter tanks. Filtration also removes suspended solid materials, as you can see in this demonstration. Now, filtered, the water is clear, but it still has another stage to pass through. These tanks are filled with activated carbon granules, which absorb still more chemical and biological impurities. The water has now been treated to a stage pure enough for drinking. Only a small amount of nutrients and trace elements remain. Before it is stored for use, however, chlorine is added to prevent the growth of bacteria. The water reclamation system at Lake Tahoe is a pioneer effort in the kind of complete sewage treatment that will become increasingly necessary throughout the country as growing population and industrial output continue to add to the pollution of our freshwater resources. At the same time, more fresh water will have to be extracted from the sea. In the future, we are going to need more and more fresh and unpolluted water. The task of satisfying that need will require greater and greater expenditures of money and strict local, state, and federal controls. Different parts of the country will require different means of water conservation.